Alright, Reddit, I'm not really one to post, but I honestly need some opinions here. A bit of background: my wife, let's call her Jessica, and I have been married for 4 years. We don't have any kids yet, just enjoying the marriage life and focusing on our careers. Here's the thing: Jessica doesn't drive. I've offered to teach her 100 times, but she's always found some excuse not to. So, she relies on Uber a lot, like a lot. At first, I didn't think much of it. She's a manager at a small firm, has meetings across town, and sometimes I'm too busy to drive her. So, Uber made sense. But there's this one driver, let's call him Mark. She's been taking rides with him for months now. I know Uber lets you choose favorite drivers, but is it normal to get the... It started with her mentioning him casually. Mark drove me today, Mark knows the quickest way to my office. Or, Mark and I were laughing about this podcast. I brushed it off. Jessica is a chatty person, super friendly, she can make friends with anyone. But it became a daily thing. Like, every damn day, she's talking about Mark. Then, I noticed she's been dressing up more lately, more makeup, new clothes, perfume. She says it's because she's been attending more meetings and networking events, but I feel like she's going all out for someone. A few days ago, I saw her texting while smiling. When I asked who it was, she said, "Just a friend from work." I don't want to sound paranoid, but I can't shake this weird feeling. Something's not right. Am I reading too much into this, or could something be going on? Should I confront H? So, I took your advice and decided to keep an eye on things without going full-blown detective mode, at first. But man, I'm really starting to think something's happening here. Last week, Jessica told me she was going out with some colleagues after work. No big deal, right? But here's where it gets strange. I decided to surprise her and pick her up from the bar she said they were going to. When I got there, she wasn't there. I called her, and she answered after a few rings, sounding all giggly, and said, "Oh, we changed spots last minute. I'm having such a good time, babe, don't worry about picking me up. I'll Uber home later." I didn't push it, but the gut feeling got worse. That night, she came home smelling like cigarettes. Jessica doesn't smoke, and perfume, but not the one she usually wears. When I asked about it, she got defensive, saying the bar was full of smokers, and one of her friends sprayed perfume to cover the smell. It didn't sit right with me, but I let it slide. A few days later, things got even weirder. I noticed she started leaving the house a little earlier than usual, saying she needed to catch up on some projects at work. I couldn't help myself. I checked her Uber app while she was in the shower. And guess what? Mark had been picking her up early, almost every morning. But it didn't stop there. She'd taken several rides that had nothing to do with work, always with Mark. I felt sick. I asked her the next day, "Why are you taking so many Ubers with Mark outside of work hours?" She acted all innocent and laughed it off. "Oh, he's just really convenient. You know how crazy traffic is, and he knows all the shortcuts." But there was something about the way she brushed it off that didn't sit right with me. She kept talking too much, explaining details I didn't even ask for. Am I crazy to think she's lying? I'm trying not to jump to conclusions, but the more I dig, the worse I feel about this whole situation. Should I confront her? Something's really not adding up. Alright, so I couldn't shake the feeling anymore. I had to know what was going on. I didn't want to make a scene, but I felt like if I didn't do something, I might be too late to find out the truth. So, yesterday, I decided to follow her. Yeah, I know that sounds insane, but I just had this gut feeling that something was off. Jessica said she was meeting up with some friends after work, but I knew better. I waited for her to leave the house, and then I quietly followed her. She got into an Uber. But not just any Uber. It was Mark's car. It was him. I knew it right away. I followed them for a bit, keeping my distance, trying to make sure I wasn't spotted. They ended up at a park. And that's when everything went to hell. I stood there, hidden behind a row of bushes, as I watched them walk toward a secluded spot near a set of trees. They were laughing, Joking around, she had her hand on his arm like she was comfortable, like they had a connection that went beyond simple friendship. At that moment, I felt like I was choking on the realization. I couldn't breathe, I was so pissed, so hurt. Then it happened. They kissed. Right there, in broad daylight. It wasn't some accidental kiss, either. No, they were full on making out, like they didn't have a care in the world. I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to go over there and confront them right then, but something stopped me. What happened next is the part that's been haunting me. They went back to the car, and as soon as they got inside, the windows fogged up. And that's when I saw it. Through the slight fog, I could see them having sex in the back seat of Mark's Uber. I watched them, unable to look away, even though it felt like my entire world was falling apart. I don't know what was worse, the physical betrayal or the fact that she was so casual about it. She wasn't some random stranger. This was my wife, my partner, the person I trusted the most. She was with him, in public, like it was nothing. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around, walked back to my car, and drove home. I sat in the driveway for a good 30 minutes before I could even get myself together enough to go inside. I don't know what to do now. I haven't confronted her yet. I'm still processing everything. I'm so hurt, so disgusted. But I know I can't keep living this lie. Should I talk to her right away? Or should I wait? I feel like I'm about to explode. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to confront her. The next morning, Jessica came in all chipper, like nothing happened. She kissed me on the cheek and asked how my night was, like I hadn't just watched her get fucked by another man. I'm sure she expected everything to be normal. But I was done pretending. I sat her down and told her I knew. I told her I saw everything, everything. Her face went pale in an instant. For a second, I thought she was going to break down, but then it was like a switch flipped. She became defensive, almost angry. "What the hell are you talking about?" she snapped. "You're crazy. I don't know what you think you saw, but I wasn't with him. I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, but it's not funny." My stomach dropped. I could barely look at her as she continued her hysterical rant. "You're so paranoid, always accusing me of things. Mark is just a nice guy who gives me a ride. He's a professional. You're just being insecure and ridiculous. You've got this whole thing twisted, and it's not even about him." I stayed calm, trying to hold on to whatever ounce of dignity I had left. "I saw you kissing him. I saw you having sex with him in his car. Don't lie to me, Jessica. You can't deny it." Her face flushed with anger, and I could see the lies building up behind her eyes. "You're obsessed. I wasn't with him. Maybe you were dreaming, or maybe you just want to believe I'm cheating on you. But I'm not. God, I can't believe you'd accuse me of something so disgusting." She was twisting everything, denying what was right in front of her face. I could hear the panic in her voice as she kept ranting. She called me paranoid, delusional, and a liar, for even suggesting that anything was going on. At that point, I felt this pit of rage in my stomach. How could she stand there, look me in the eye, and act like nothing had happened? Like she wasn't caught red-handed? I don't know how I stayed composed. I wanted to scream, to call her every name in the book, but instead, I asked her one simple question. "Do you really expect me to believe that? After everything I saw?" Her eyes flickered, just for a second. I think I caught her off guard. But she quickly recovered and started playing the victim. "You're the one ruining this marriage. You're driving me away with your trust issues. It's your fault if I'm distant, if I'm not happy anymore." I swear, it was like a switch flipped again. The same woman who was acting all apologetic when I would come home late, or miss dinner, was now blaming me for her affair. It was so twisted. She kept talking, saying that maybe she didn't feel loved anymore, that she needed someone to talk to. But it was all nonsense. Finally, I lost it. "So you needed someone to talk to? Someone to fuck you in a car? That's how you handle it?" That shut her up for a second. But she quickly recovered and stormed off, telling me I was overreacting and that I should grow up. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't believe I was hearing all of this. And to make it worse, I felt like I was the crazy one. But I knew what I saw. I knew she was lying. I'm done. I can't live like this anymore. The trust is gone. The lies are suffocating. I'm thinking about divorce now. Should I file it right away? Or should I wait for more proof? I'm honestly scared that if I wait too long, she'll spin this into something even worse, and I'll end up losing everything. So, I did something today that I thought I'd never do. I started looking into divorce lawyers. I'm done playing this game, done being the one who's always in the dark, being gaslit and lied to. Jessica came home later than usual tonight. I've been trying to avoid her, but it's impossible to ignore the tension. The minute she stepped through the door, I could tell she was in damage control mode. She was overly nice, way too sweet, like she was trying to make up for something, and it was making me sick. She tried to kiss me, but I pulled back. "You're not even going to say hi?" she asked, with a forced smile. "No, I'm not," I replied. "I'm not here for your fake apologies or your sweet talk." She immediately got defensive, as expected. "Oh my God, really? You're going to keep this up? What the hell do you want from me, huh? You've been acting so weird lately, accusing me of things, and now you're giving me the silent treatment like a child?" I wasn't having any of it. "You lied to me. You lied to my face, Jessica. You cheated on me with him. And now you're trying to turn this around on me? I'm done. I'm done with you and your lies." She froze for a second, like she was processing the fact that I wasn't buying her story anymore. Then she did what she does best. She flipped the switch and became hysterical. "Why are you doing this to me?" she screamed. "You're ruining my life. You're pushing me away, and now you want to make it seem like it's my fault? God, you're pathetic. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted someone who actually cared about me, who listened to me. But no, you're too busy with your job, too busy being perfect to pay attention to me." Her words were venomous, and I could tell she was trying to manipulate me, but I wasn't buying it anymore. "You don't get to make me the villain here. You're the one who stepped outside of our marriage. You're the one who betrayed me, Jessica. You don't get to cry and play the victim now. Not after everything." She started pacing, throwing her hands up. "You don't understand. It was just a fling. It didn't mean anything. Why can't you see that? It's not like I'm in love with him. I just wanted to feel wanted for once. You don't give me that. You've never given me that. I just needed someone to pay attention to me. Is that so wrong?" I almost laughed, but there was nothing funny about it. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You're full of shit. This wasn't just about attention. You had sex with him in his car. That's not just a fling, Jessica. That's you choosing him over me. That's betrayal. And you're standing here trying to act like it's no big deal?" She started to cry, real tears this time, or at least they looked real. But I knew better than to fall for it. "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. It just happened. Please don't leave me. I love you. I want to fix this. I'll do anything to make it right." I couldn't even look at her. "I don't believe you anymore. You don't love me. You love the idea of having someone who'll put up with your shit. And I'm done. I've already talked to a lawyer. I'm filing for divorce." Her face twisted in anger, and she slapped me, hard. I wasn't even expecting it, and it hit like a slap to the soul. I didn't flinch. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her, dead in the eyes. This woman who had promised me forever, who swore she would never hurt me, was standing here, acting like I was the one who was destroying everything. "You're going to regret this," she screamed. "You'll never find someone who loves you the way I did." I didn't flinch. "Maybe not. But I'll never find someone who betrays me the way you did either." She stood there for a second, her face twisted with rage and regret, and then stormed out of the room. That was it. I made up my mind. I'm done. I'm filing the papers tomorrow. I can't keep doing this. The trust is gone, and I can't stand living with someone who thinks lying and cheating are acceptable. I'm done, Reddit. I don't know if I'll ever get over this, but I'm sure as hell not going to live this lie any longer. It's time for me to move on. It's been a few days since I told Jessica I was filing for divorce. I thought I'd feel some sense of relief, but honestly, I'm just numb. Every day feels like a blur. The tension in the house is unbearable, but the worst part is, she's still trying to manipulate me. And it's working, at least a little. Since the confrontation, Jessica has been on a full-blown charm offensive. She's been sending me constant texts, apologizing, begging me to talk, claiming that she wasn't thinking clearly when she slept with Mark. She's even tried to play the victim in front of my friends, saying that I overreacted, and that I didn't give her enough attention. She sent me a text the other day that hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm sorry for what I did, but please don't destroy everything we have over this. I love you more than you know. I know I messed up, but we can fix it. Please give me one more chance. I'll prove I can change. The first few lines almost got to me. It's like she knows exactly what to say to make me second-guess myself. But then I remembered, this is the same woman who looked me in the eye and lied, the same one who cheated on me. I'm not stupid. I know better now. I didn't respond to her messages. I knew that if I gave in, even for a second, it would all fall apart. But then last night, she came to me again. This time, she was sitting on the couch, looking like she'd been crying. I could see right through it, another one of her "I'm so sorry" routines. "I'm begging you," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Don't leave me. I know I messed up, but I swear it's not what you think. It was a mistake. Mark was nothing to me. Please, just don't end everything because of this." I didn't say anything at first. I just stood there, staring at her, letting the silence hang between us. "Don't you love me?" she asked, looking up at me with wide, tear-filled eyes. I had to bite my tongue to stop myself from yelling. The audacity. The manipulation. It was all just too much. "Do you love me?" I asked her instead. "Because if you did, you wouldn't have betrayed me like that. You wouldn't have had sex with him in his fucking car, Jessica. You wouldn't have lied to me over and over again. This isn't love." Her face faltered. For a brief second, I saw the mask slip. She started to yell, calling me every name under the sun, telling me I was a fool for throwing everything away. But the anger wasn't real. It was a defense mechanism. She was panicking because she knew she was losing control. "You're the one who's destroying this marriage. You never even cared. It was always about you," she screamed, pointing her finger at me like it was all my fault. I couldn't help but laugh, a bitter, hollow sound that made her stop mid-rant. "You're still trying to blame me for this? Really? After everything you've done?" Her face twisted in rage, and she stood up, storming out of the room. I knew right then that she wasn't going to make this easy. She wasn't going to let go without a fight. But I'm done. The emotional games, the lies, the cheating, it's over. I don't care how much she cries or how many texts she sends me. I can't go back to that. I'm filing the papers tomorrow. There's no turning back now. I thought maybe I could forgive her, maybe we could work it out, but I've realized I don't want to. I deserve better than this. The worst part is, I'm still hurting. Not just because of what she did, but because I gave her everything, and she still chose him over me. But I know deep down, this is the only way forward. Tomorrow, it all ends. And I'm finally free. The past 24 hours have been a whirlwind. Jessica has been relentless. She's bombarded me with calls, texts, and even came over to my office just to beg me to reconsider. It's like she doesn't get it. Like she's so convinced that her charm and tears can fix this, that she can somehow make me forget what happened. Yesterday, I thought I was done. I thought I had already made my decision. But then, she pulled a stunt that I didn't expect. She showed up at my office, unannounced, just as I was about to leave for a meeting. She was standing in the hallway, looking desperate, pale, and exhausted. When I saw her, my first instinct was to walk away, but she called my name, almost pleading. "I can't lose you, Ilya," she said, her voice shaking. "You're the only person who's ever really loved me. I don't want to be alone. Please, just let's talk. I'm so sorry. I was stupid. I never wanted to hurt you. Please don't do this." I stood there for a second, caught between the anger I still felt and the remnants of whatever feelings I had left for her. She looked so different than she did before, vulnerable, almost broken. But then I remembered. I remembered everything. The way she betrayed me, the lies, the gaslighting, the manipulation. I couldn't afford to fall for it again. "I'm filing for divorce tomorrow," I said flatly, not allowing myself to waver. "I've already made up my mind. I can't do this anymore." She went pale. Then she cried, real, genuine tears. It was like watching a different person, and for a moment, I felt guilty. I could see how much she was hurting, but I knew deep down that she wasn't hurting because of me. She was hurting because she was losing control. She wasn't upset about the affair, she was upset that I was finally standing up for myself. "Please, Ilya, please," she sobbed, grabbing my arm. "I can't lose you. I'll do anything. I swear I'll change. Just let me prove to you that I love you. Don't do this. You'll regret it." I pulled my arm away gently. "I can't be with someone who lies to me, who cheats on me. That's not love, Jessica. You don't get to come back from that. I don't even know who you are anymore." She fell to her knees, right there in the hallway, crying uncontrollably. It was so dramatic that part of me almost felt like I was watching a scene from some bad soap opera. But the other part of me, the part that had been betrayed and humiliated, was numb. "I don't want to do this," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But I can't live like this anymore. You've destroyed the trust, Jessica. And I don't think you understand how serious this is. I can't unsee what I saw. I can't forget what you did to me." She looked up at me, eyes filled with desperation. "But I love you. I love you so much. I've been lost without you. Please don't leave me." For a split second, I almost wanted to believe her. The words, "I love you," were so familiar, so comforting. But I knew they were just words. I had heard them so many times before, but they meant nothing now. If she really loved me, she wouldn't have thrown me away for someone else. "I'm sorry, but it's too late," I said, my voice breaking a little. "I've already decided. And nothing you say can change that." With that, I turned and walked away, leaving her there in the hallway, sobbing uncontrollably. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I knew it was the right thing. There's no going back now. I'm filing the divorce papers tomorrow. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I can't stay in a marriage that's built on lies and betrayal. As much as it hurts, I know I have to do this for me, for my own sanity, my own peace of mind. I've already started the process. It's official. It's happening. And even though I know it's going to get messy before it gets better, I'm ready for this new chapter. No more lies. No more manipulations. It's time for me to be free. Well, it's done. The papers are signed. I've officially filed for divorce, and Jessica knows it's over. She's been calling me nonstop, showing up at my place, trying to make one last-ditch effort to change my mind. But I'm done. I'm finally free of her, free of the lies, the games, the cheating, and the manipulations. But honestly, even though it's over, I still don't feel like I've won. I thought that once the papers were signed, I'd feel this huge sense of relief. I thought I'd be able to take a deep breath and move on, but it's not that simple. She came to my apartment one last time, right after I'd handed the divorce papers to her lawyer. She looked wrecked, like a different person. Her eyes were red from crying, and she looked exhausted. "I can't believe you're really doing this," she said, her voice shaking. "After everything we've been through, you're just throwing it all away for nothing. You really want to live without me, Ilya?" I never wanted this, I told her, keeping my voice calm. But I can't live like this anymore. You broke my trust. You chose him over me, and I can't forget that. I'm sorry, but this is the end. Her face twisted in anger, but there was also something else there, something desperate. You think I'm just going to let you go? You think this is easy for me? I've always loved you. You were my everything. And now you're throwing me away like I'm nothing. You're a fool if you think this will make you happy. I stood my ground, but the words cut through me. She was right about one thing, I was hurting too. I loved her once. But love isn't enough when trust is shattered. She tried to pull me into a hug, but I stepped back. Please don't, I said quietly. I don't want to do this anymore. And that was it. That was the last time I saw her. I've heard through mutual friends that she's been spiraling, trying to blame me for everything that went wrong. I'm sure she's telling people that I'm the one who ended it over some stupid fling. She's spinning it, trying to make herself out to be the victim. But I don't care. I know the truth. And so do the people who matter. But still, a part of me feels hollow. The marriage is over. The affair is over. And yet, I can't shake the feeling of betrayal that lingers. I can't stop thinking about the way she looked at me when she said she loved me, how convincing it seemed in that moment. But in my gut I know the truth. I know she was never really in love with me. She was in love with the idea of me, someone who would always be there, someone who wouldn't ask questions. And now it's over. I'm still processing it all. I've been taking it day by day. I've been spending more time with friends and focusing on myself. I've even gone back to riding my bike, something I used to love but stopped doing when things got tense with Jessica. I'm not sure where I go from here. Part of me wants to jump into something new, find someone else who won't betray me. But another part of me feels like I need time to heal. I can't just jump from one relationship to the next. I need to rediscover who I am outside of all of this. The divorce wasn't an easy decision, and it wasn't one I wanted to make. But in the end, it was the only one that made sense. Maybe I'll meet someone else. Maybe I'll learn to trust again. Maybe I'll never be able to. But for now, I'm just trying to focus on moving forward. It's a new chapter. And even though I'm still hurting, I know it's the right one. Thanks for reading, Reddit. I don't know what else to say. I guess this is it.